Hey guys, hope you and the families are doing well. Today's day is September 12th, 2025. We're going to be doing something very specific in this session, which is 5-minute ORB. So 5-minute opening range breakouts, which have really been in play this week. So what I'm going to do is just spend the first 10 minutes or so just showing you what absolute textbook 5-minute opening range breakouts look like. I've got 3 examples, all of which I traded. So that's going to be Tesla and IONQ from today, obviously the 12th of September when we're filming this, and then also Tempest AI from yesterday being the 11th of September 2025, because it's exactly the same thing keeps happening. It's just realizing, okay, is this a session where it could be opening range breakouts are in play, or is this a session where actually it's an Immorello type day? You want to wait for the indexes to flush, then turn around, and then they push and go. So you're just trying to kind of decipher that very early on in the session, but the action of the leading stocks will guide you to what to do. So I'll pop this up and show you guys on Friday sometime. So this is this week, okay? This week started on the 8th of September and it's currently the 12th of September. This count up 20%. And this is not rocket science. Like it's really, really simple what I'm going to be trying to teach you. So this is effectively what I've been trading most of the week in terms of 5-minute opening range breakouts, okay? So it's the likes of Tesla, it's IONQ from today, it's the likes of a Tempest AI from yesterday. Okay, 20%. And it wasn't difficult. Okay, I know it sounds trading is really difficult at first, but then when you kind of get it, it's pretty straightforward, pretty basic. You're not trying to do anything kind of magical. And then I'll show you this. This is IONQ Tesla from today. Okay, so this is 2:35 p.m., which is 9:35 Eastern time. Okay, so that would be the 5-minute RB. So when I show you Tesla and I show you IONQ, okay, from today, I'm buying Tesla 15 seconds into that 5-minute RB. I'm buying IONQ 54 seconds into that 5-minute opening range breakout. Okay, because you don't get it perfectly every single time. Because obviously, if I'm typing in Tesla, I can't be at 2 places at once. I can't enter 2 orders at once. Okay, so sometimes you get that little bit of lag where you don't get it quite perfectly, just where you absolutely want it because you're entering a different order, or you're watching that, or suddenly it just starts to get okay. So of course you're going to get a little bit of slippage in things like this, but. Okay, it ain't too difficult, guys. It is really ain't too difficult. I'm not that smart, and if you can kind of get what I'm saying here, think about a couple of things in real time, set your trading layout up so you kind of make it easier for yourself. Oh, it's yeah, it's pretty straightforward. So I'm going to take you through Tesla. I'm going to take you through IONQ, and I'm going to take you through Tempest AI. These are all 5-minute opening range breakouts, which have been working really well, especially in the latter part of this week. So I think the two best long setups at the moment in this market environment are Immorellos or opening range breakouts. Which ones are going to work better on the day really depends on the context of where the indexes are going to go that day because of this algo dominated market environment. If it's going to be more of an up day for the indexes, so general higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, intraday for the indexes, more so I'm going to be looking for opening range breakouts, but it's not that I'm looking for them. You just see the stocks doing that. Okay, you just see the stock. There's nothing magical. You just watch leading stock. Okay, there are ORB. The leaders are absolutely powering higher. That could be a real clue for where the indexes are going. Because yes, the majority of stocks are highly correlated with the indexes, but conversely to that, a lot of the leading stocks, the indexes actually follow the leading stocks. So sometimes the tail is wagging the dog, if that kind of makes sense. Or potentially you want to be looking for Immorellos if there's going to be a big flush. And then you see Immorellos, and you'll tend to see leaders kind of Immorelloing 5 to 15 minutes ahead of the indexes intraday. So we're going to focus on opening range breakouts. I'm going to teach you precisely and exactly what I'm looking for. Let's go through the two from today. And what you see is the charts look identical. How they then move is basically identical. Okay, so there's very specific things that we're looking for. And you really want to be aware as well of, just as a blabber on at the start of this, is when a stock goes on a big move for that day, it tends to do things that are very, very specific. So I'm going to teach you Tesla, IONQ, Tempest AI. What are those specific things that a stock tends to do when it goes on a big run? And we're going to define big run relative to the 20-day ADR percentage. So i.e. when a stock has a big up session, what does it tend to look like? What does it tend to exhibit? Visually, what do you see? When it goes up, say, 1.5 times or 2 times, 2.5 times its 20-day ADR percentage and doesn't close below this orange line, which is the 5-minute 6 EMA, which I think is quite magical for 5-minute ORBs in the right market environment, okay? So take a look at Tesla from today, okay? So my entry is here. Let me pull this up like this, okay? So my entry for Tesla is here. This is the 5-minute opening range breakout. So you can see how these levels, 374, 370, correlate on the daily chart. There's a really nice kind of Immorello ORB yesterday as well. And then we're going to go into the kind of down the rabbit hole of trade management as well. Okay, is it intraday? Is it potentially looking for a swing on the daily? And again, we're going to look at the big bases. I near Ella playing downstairs. The big bases that are also forming for Tesla and IONQ. That may influence your decision making for how you then want to manage this, especially when a stock is showing so much relative strength and breaking out of a huge weekly base. This is what you want to see. Take a look at Tesla. Opening 5-minute candlestick relative to the triple Qs. This is really key. Relative to the triple Qs. Tesla does this. Opens on effectively the low of the 5-minute bar, closes effectively on the high of the 5-minute bar. Contrast that to the triple Qs in the opening 5 minutes. What do you see? Supply shoot. Price opens here for the triple Qs, tries to go. So again, supply shoots bullish and bearish. It's indicating there's willing buyers, there's willing algos there, but not enough to power it higher. Weak lows, supply shoot, doji at best candlestick. Whereas Tesla's just done that. Now, here's the real key as well for when stocks then tend to go on a big move. You'll see this. You're going to see it with Tesla. You're going to see it with Tempest in particular as well, okay? So take a look at this. Tesla on the second 5-minute, this is today. So I'm not just talking out my arse. I took this trade. I took IONQ. I took Tempest AI yesterday. It's the exact same thing. It just keeps happening. So take a look at Tesla. Second 5-minute candlestick. What's it doing? It's breaking out through the high of the day. Where is the triple Qs? The triple Q just did that. Think about this, guys. Relative strength precedes absolute strength. Tesla is literally yelling in your face, I'm going to have a really big day today. There's a high probability I'm going to have a big day today. Why? Because of the relative strength it's displaying in one, the first 5-minute candlestick, and two, the second 5-minute candlestick. Triple Qs does that in the first 10 minutes. Tesla does that in the first 10 minutes. This is what you want to see. It's really, really not rocket science. It's really not rocket science. I've had a really shit week. Okay? Pardon my French. Father-in-law in hospital, bad. But still able to do this. Because if you can just focus and dial in a very finite amount of time, that very specific time, you just dial it in and get, okay, this is what I'm looking for. Let me just concentrate, tune out all the noise for 15 minutes and just dial in and focus. And then you just ride the trend. Okay, just then ride the trend. So here, this is what you want to see visually. Take a print screen of that. Opens on the low, strong close, 5-minute candlestick. Relative to the triple Qs, doing that. This is what you want to see. You can then also think about initial risk relative to the 20-day ADR percentage. Okay, and then how far may Tesla go today? So this is where we go down a little bit further down the rabbit hole, okay? So the initial stop loss on Tesla, and again, just to confirm, I am not talking out my arse. Tesla, there. Today, this is my time, so London time. Okay, this is 2:35 p.m., which in New York time, Eastern time, would be at 9:35. Okay, 15 seconds into this bar. Boom, right there. That's the entry. Okay. 1.2%, 1.25% off an ADR of 3.75%. It's very favorable. If you can get the ORB a quarter, a third, a half versus the 20-day ADR percentage as well, when a stock is showing you this much intraday relative strength, you can be on something really, really good. Okay. Quarter, third, half. When the stock starts getting out and you're kind of taking the 5-minute RB, but it's already up its 20-day ADR percentage, those are difficult because that proverbial fuel tank in terms of the ADR can be empty. Maybe it'll go a bit more, really in the kind of hands of the market gods. What's the session going to do? But for me, I like it when it's a third, a quarter, a third, a half, maybe a little bit more than a half, depends on the context, depends how strong it is, okay? That can be a really nice metric. Then in terms of the management, okay, now we'll go down the kind of the management rabbit hole, okay? You manage these intraday, you manage them swing trading it, you manage it as a position trade. It depends on the market environment and the context of the stock, okay? So what I like to do, if I'm just managing it intraday and the stock is this strong, okay, while the triple Qs are effectively going sideways to 10.15, they're going nowhere. Sideways, choppy. Tesla doesn't care. Look at it. It doesn't care. Trend, 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 trend. Above this, and here's key daily moving average. Here is the key moving average on the 5-minute chart, the 5-minute 6 EMA for ORBs. Okay, that is kind of my guardrail from a trade management standpoint. ORBs, I really like the 5-minute 6 EMA. Now, in terms of the sell rule that I use with the 5-minute 6 EMA, it's not on the close of the 5-minute 6 EMA. It's on a move down through the 5-minute candlestick that closed below the 5-minute candlestick. Make sense? If the stock is up its 20-day ADR percentage as well. There's a couple of things to unpick there. So Tesla here is up, let's just call it, for round numbers, okay? Tesla's up 2 times, certainly before today, 2 times its 20-day ADR percentage. What did it do? How did it act? How did it act in the first 5 minutes, the next 5 minutes? How did it trend in here while the triple Qs were chopping sideways? It was just continuing to show you strength. I want to hold it, hold it, hold it. Here it closes below the 5-minute 6 EMA, but there's no breakdown through that bar there at 1040. And then here it's kind of meandering, and the triple Qs are kind of meandering as well. But the ADR percentage, the fuel is pretty much out the fuel tank. I was going to do IONQ next, but I'll do Tempest AI next because it's kind of similar in the sense of the second 5-minute candlestick. Okay, so this is Tempest AI. Okay, yesterday, the 11th of September, 2025. Okay, so you can see the entry is going to be here, 81.65. The stop loss low day is 79.40, and you see how that correlates there on the daily chart. Okay, nice volume coming through. We talk a lot about how do momentum leaders move. What you generally want to see is strong stocks in the context of an uptrend. Okay, strong, 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 pull in, find support around the 10, around the 10.21, around the 10, around 10. So here, it's kind of just basing, flagging around the 10. Now, it can be a bit of a choppy stock, but there's been really good in Morello's. Okay, when it's been flicking down here and bouncing off key daily moving averages. But here it decides to go gadget, kind of breaking out of this flag type pattern in here, right? But what does it do yesterday in the opening 5 minutes? And specifically the opening 10 minutes as well. Now the key here is that Tempest AI goes up 14.6%. I'm not saying you're going to top ticket, but it goes up about 2 times its 20-day ADR percentage, because remember, this day here adds to the 20-day ADR percentage meaningfully. Okay, so the ADR yesterday, let's call it 7%. So it's up 2 times its 20-day ADR percentage, and it's up 2 times its 20-day ADR percentage, not closing below the 5-minute 6 EMA. It's not like it just chopped around like this all day like that. No, it's really easy. Super easy. It's not difficult. What does the first 5-minute candlestick look like? Opens on the low of the bar. I'll come back to that point if I remember. But it opens on the low of the 5-minute candlestick. The opening price was the low of the 5-minute candlestick. That tells you as soon as the market opens for Tempest AI, the algos are jumping into it. Traders, market operators, they're go gadget on it. Opens on the low of the bar, push, go, strong close, relative to the Qs, which is at best like a bullish doji. Yeah? And then what do you notice? It's the same thing that happens in the next 5-minute candlestick that you see on Tesla. The triple Qs rolls out of bed to a new low of day, rolls out hard. What does Tempest AI do on the 9:35 Eastern Time candlestick? Doesn't care, breaking out through the high of day. Did we see that before? Tesla today, triple Qs, 9:35 a.m. Eastern Time candlestick. Triple Qs breaks to new low of day. Tesla breaking out through the high of day. They're telling you, I could be strong today. I could be strong today. If the market just eases up a little bit, I'm gone. Or they may be so strong, they just don't care what the market does. They just don't care what the market's going to do that day. And then what do you see with Tempest AI? Power's high. See how it rides this 5-minute 6 EMA. Now, where you then have kind of back-to-back closes below the 5-minute 6 EMA here, kind of goes, but doesn't really undercut it enough here. See how you get a close, but it doesn't really undercut it here. There's no kind of clear undercut, no clear undercut. But here, okay, so this is around, is that about 1 o'clock? 1:30 Eastern time, okay? 1:30 Eastern time, you get back-to-back closes, plus the MACD has been negative for a while, whilst the triple Q is now going sideways. So what you start to have here is intraday relative weakness developed for Tempest AI, relative to the Qs, which is just going sideways. But it kind of makes sense, right? Because Tempest AI is up 2 times its 20-day ADR%. The fuel tank is empty. It ain't going to go much higher. So if you're just managing intraday, that's the exit. Now, what you can do is be aware about the bigger context. So now let's bring in the bigger context. We'll go back to Tesla, then we'll bring in IONQ. So if you take a look at Tesla, what is Tesla doing in the last 2 days and today? What do you see on the daily chart? But let's take away the emotion of you like Musk, you don't like Musk. I don't care. If I'm honest, I just want to trade, make money, spend time with family, go to sleep, be happy. Don't care. Don't want to get political. Don't care. I'm just interested in specifically what is Tesla doing? Emotional, unemotional, sorry, objective, rational. It doesn't bother me. Like there's no emotional connection to any stock. Whether you like Musk, whether you don't like, I don't care. I just don't care. I used to care. Now I don't care. What does Tesla do over the last 4 months? Big old base. Some of you may be saying BCP, which in essence is just an ascending triangle, guys. Just a fancy name for an ascending triangle. An ascending triangle pretty much has a flat top and builds high lows. Interesting. But volatility is contracting. Sounds a bit more fancy, doesn't it? But anyway, Tesla starts building this big base, right? And then it starts breaking out of this big base. So think about how many people you're going to have watching it, because Tesla is breaking out of a multi-month base. It's going to have a lot of eyeballs on it. We all know Tesla. Okay, people love trading Tesla. Like, they're like PLTR, like they're like Robinhood. Tesla is a widely followed stock. Starts breaking out of a big base, showing intraday relative strength. You're going to have a lot of eyeballs on it. So what do we see with Tesla today? Starts powering out, showing a lot of relative strength on an intraday basis, but we want to be aware of this bigger time frame context as well. It's coming out of about a 4-month base. Okay, so now what do you do from a trade management standpoint? And this is where the game is. The first part of the game is get in the right stocks at the right time. They're the first two parts of the game. Then the next part is manage them right. It's okay, you just want to manage the intraday. So to kind of be long here, it's kind of umming and ahhing, isn't it? So Tesla real time, okay, you can start to see Tesla breaking down through the 5-minute 6 EMA while the triple Qs is doing what? Triple Qs is starting to rally. You're starting to see a bit of intraday relative weakness live as we're watching it. See that? MACD is negative as well. But then we want to assess the character. Okay, what does Tesla tend to do? So what Tesla tends to do, very similar to MSTR in a way as well, is Tesla tends to build these big bases and then go on big trends. Is it going to do it this time? I have no idea. But what I do know right now is Tesla is showing strength. So here's Tesla, big base, big trend, smaller base, good trend. Here you could look at this as a very big base and it really starts kind of breaking out in here. Big base, big trend for a couple of weeks, couple of months. That's what Tesla tends to do. So then you want to be aware of that from a trade management standpoint. And then again, you can go back and think, okay, if Tesla's going to break out of this big base here, what's going to be an effective moving average based on the prior character? It's a 10-day EMA. Or maybe you think that's 21-day EMA. Maybe you think, if it's short-term extender, but I'll go lower the bar. Lower the day, lower the day, lower the day. But this is how you can be adaptable, subject to what you see unfolding, and be aware of the context on the higher time frame. So let's go through IONQ today. Okay, so IONQ entry is here at 48.72. So again, just to highlight, I'm not talking out to my arse. Okay, 54 seconds into this 5-minute candlestick. It's there. Okay, I went Tesla first, then I went IONQ. So with IONQ, well, what do we see today? On the daily chart, we normally just see mega volume coming through, right? But look at the first 5-minute candlestick relative to the Qs. Similar to Tesla, right? Opens on the low, push, go. Triple Qs does that. Now, again, what have we seen in every single instance? Granted, there's only been 2 that I've shown you. In the second candlestick of the session on the 5-minute charts, that's the 9:35 Eastern Time candlestick. What do we see? The Tesla, Tempest, and IONQ. Triple Qs breaks down to new session lows. Does IONQ care? It doesn't care. Look at that. Opens on the low of the bar, closes on the high of the bar. Rinse and repeat, does it on the next bar. While the triple Qs is doing that. So in the opening 10 minutes, the triple Qs does this, IONQ does this. And I'm banging on, but in the opening 10 minutes, Tempest AI does that, triple Qs does that. Tesla, opening 10 minutes, does that, the triple Qs does that. That's interesting. Is that a common characteristic that you tend to see exhibited when stocks go on big moves relative to their 20-day ADR percentage? So with IONQ today, okay, again, I'm not saying you're going to top ticket, but the stock has gone up, let's call it 18% versus an ADR of 6%. The stock has gone up 3 times its 20-day ADR percentage and did not once close below the 5-minute 6 EMA. But it was yelling at you the strength in the opening 5 minutes. There was also strength from the other quantum stocks, Rigetti, QBTS. And then it's a case of, okay, if you want to manage it from an intraday basis, well, here, you see how it starts kind of closing below here. So again, from an intraday perspective, you start having intraday relative weakness develop in here, which is around about 10:40 Eastern time again. Look at that relative to the triple Qs. And then you can start to see the stock showing more intraday relative weakness while the triple Qs kind of generally trended up, but now starting to roll a little bit. Okay, but you could also see it in here. It's closing below the 5-minute 6 EMA, plus the triple Qs has done that. But it makes sense that the stock is not going to go up forever. It's just gone up 3 times the 20-day ADR percentage. That is a huge move. Huge move. So if you just want to manage it intraday, there you go. 5-minute 6 EMA. I absolutely love the thing. But then what we could do is go look at the daily chart. Now, what do we see on the daily chart that's potentially even more impressive than what we see with Tesla's daily chart? What chart pattern do you see on the daily? I see a huge cup with handle. And if you've been on the platform for any more than 5 minutes, you'll know that every day I basically talk about the quantum stocks. I think they're really interesting. and they move really nicely. We'll see that some stocks are better trading stocks than others. And what's the character of IONQ? What's the character of the other quantum stocks? Look what they did in Q4 of last year. In Q4 of last year, they went up. IONQ, let's call it 500%. Some of the other ones, like a Regatti, I think that was closer to 2,000%. So, okay, what we now have is we have stocks that have good ADR percentages, are very liquid in a very exciting area of the market that is growing and going to have a lot of growth potential ahead of it. And they have a prior character of being able to rally along their 10-day, 21-day EMA hundreds of percent, if not thousands of percent in some instances. With Regatti, that's RGTI, QBTS, QBT. They've gone huge moves. And the size of this base is significant. So it's starting to break out of this huge base, plus it's showing this much intraday relative strength. So then you go think, okay, maybe I could nail some there. Okay, maybe take part of the position off there, but do I want to hold for, do I want to try and play this for a huge move? Go ride that 10, go ride that 21, and see if I can go get up 100%, 250%, 500% move from this then. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. It's kind of down to you to decide. No one can hold your hand there. The trade management has to be you. You have to do it. Because how you see the situation is going to be different to how I see the situation for the potential. What's your view of the market? How's the market acting? Is it choppy, not choppy? How do you think this is going to move out of here? What you may do is actually go, do you know what? I'm going to take 25% of my position off. Sorry, 75% of my position off here. I'm going to keep 25% back for kind of a swing positional trade, and then I'm going to look to add. So I'm sure many of you maybe been trading IONQ when it was also down here. I know I have, when it's around the 10-day, 21-day, 50. There was a really nice yesterday in Morello trade right there. Loads of opportunities in it. So we'll go through a few more, but we'll keep it dialed in today on the 5-minute RB. As I said, I got a hard stop in about 35 minutes or so. So I could see that Aman, Thomas, and Juan are happy to join in. So we'll do about 10 minutes each, guys, if that's all right. And then I'll have to wrap it up for today. I'll just answer a couple of questions. Timo's asking, is the first 5-minute full body candle on IONQ also a sign of quality compared to EOS? EOS was good today. Again, just watch what I've just done here, Timo, 10 times. Just watch it over and over and over again. Just keep watching it until it sinks in. Like EOS today, there it is, strong. Was it as good as maybe a Tesla or an IONQ? Probably not that 5-minute bar, bit more of a demand tail on it, bit more of a, but it's there. It ain't rocket science. And then remember what I've been blabbering on about the 5-minute 6 EMA. Wait for a move through the close below bar. So here, closes below the 5-minute 6 EMA, but there's no move through that bar. Here, closes on, no move through. Here, okay, now it's kind of getting to the interesting point. But then if you think about, okay, relative to the 20-day ADR percentage, it's now up its 20-day ADR percentage. It's over. Probably not too much fuel left in the fuel tank today. And that's absolutely fine for the stock. But that's how the 5-minute 6 EMA can ride it. Question from Toll. Caught those RBs smart. I've been trading one side a very long time. Has this been missing concept for me? That's all right. Do you skip entries where there is an ORB which has already achieved the ADR percentage? Okay. We'll finish with that and then I'll bring the guys in. I'm just going to try and remember what day it was for Rocket Lab to this day. Oh, ain't that day. Bear with me a second and I will find it. No, not that day. No, not that day. So the question is about what if a stock is kind of so strong in the opening 5 minutes? I'll find it somewhere. Okay. Yes, here. 14th of August. Let me just go to the 14th of August for both. Okay, so good question. So sometimes a stock in a way can be too strong for its own good, which may make no sense until I explain this part, okay? So we're looking at Rocket Lab and we are on the 14th of August, 2025. So we are looking at this day here, okay? I'm going to put a big arrow to it, 14th of August. Okay, we're looking at that day there for Rocket Lab. And then the 14th of August is going to be this day here for the triple Qs. So on the daily chart, 1, has Rocket Lab been showing relative strength versus the triple Qs before we even start looking at the 5 minute? And no, would be the answer to that. Okay, if you look at the last, say, 2 weeks for the triple Qs, up, up, up. Whereas Rocket Lab, what does it do? Down, down, down. That's not to say you can't find good trading opportunities. You can, especially within Morello's. But you just want to be aware here that triple Qs, short-term extended, Rocket Lab hasn't been able to rally with the triple Qs. Why is that? It's probably going to go for a bigger shakeout. And there's your shakeout at the 50. Okay, but if we're looking at this hit on the 14th, what we see in the opening bar, let me try and get these lined up a little bit better. What do we see in the opening 5 minute candlestick for Rocket Lab? Good bar, right? It's got this shakeout demand tail on it, closes really strong. Reclaims the 21 EMA, so we're obviously looking at this day here that turns into a supply shoot. Okay, that day right there. Reclaims the 21-day EMA, reclaims the 10-day EMA, which are right there on the daily chart, okay? And they're just plotted here. So it's really strong. What's potentially the issue there? If we go and take a look here, if you get it perfectly, which you won't, you won't get it perfectly. You're always going to get slippage, okay? 5.5%. Well, issue there is, and I actually think the ADR would have been a little bit less. I'll tell you what, I want to get a more accurate ADR because I think it would have been less than 7%. Let's just go back like this. Yeah, well, 7%, fair enough. So we go there and then here like this, okay? So now we're just dialed in. You can also see that intraday relative or the relative weakness point on the daily chart a little bit more clearly, okay? Note the trend over the last 2 weeks for the triple Q. Note the trend for Rocket Lab. Something's a little bit off there, right? It's not quite right. And then what you have here is Rocket Lab. The opening 5 minute candlestick is strong, reclaims the key daily moving averages, nice strong close, shakeout demand tail. Okay, arguably stronger than the triple Qs as well, that bar. Triple Qs, nice bar, could indicate goes out right on the high that this thing could continue to trend. Was the issue here is your initial stop loss is 5.5%. I'm going to call it 6%, because as soon as you're getting some slippage on the way through and you're getting some slippage on the downside, you're at 6% easily, okay? So the issue here is 6%. Now, that may not be an issue if the stock has a 20-day ADR percentage of 8%, 10%. But here, what is it telling you? Well, I'm going to round this up to 6. Okay. Well, what is this telling you? It's telling you there's probably only another percent left in the fuel tank. So you've got 6% risk to potential 1% upside, just basing off 20-day ADR percent probabilities. Now, what does Rocket Lab do? Okay, pushes up another kind of 2%, goes just over its 20-day ADR percentage. But now up here, it's over its 20-day ADR percentage. So the difficulty is if your initial stops are around or very close to the 20-day ADR percentage, you're making it harder for yourself because the stock is unlikely to achieve at least, say, 1 times risk, more preferably 2 times risk. So that's why if your initial stop loss is a third relative to the 20-day ADR percentage, it's reasonable to think the stock could go up 2 times your initial risk, which would then achieve the 20-day ADR percentage. Make sense? If your initial stop loss is half the 20-day ADR percentage, and the stock goes up 1 times your initial risk, the stock would then go up around its 20-day ADR percentage. So you can free roll into that. One of the things here, okay, and here's then a real kind of nuance with opening range breakouts, is you see here, Rocket Lab at 1020, 1025, well, and 1030. Close, close, close below the 5 minute 6 EMA. See that? Yeah. Close, close, close below. I'll circle it in red or something like that, okay? Close, close, close. So 1020, 1025, 1030. Ready? 1020, 1025, 1030. And it changes to green. What do you see the triple Qs is doing? So while Rocket Lab is rolling over and closing below the 5 minute 6 EMA and the MACD is turning bearish, Rocket Lab is rolling over, triple Qs is rallying. Rocket Lab here is showing you one intraday relative weakness persistently for 15 minutes. Weak, 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 rally, rally, rally. Plus, and this is where we bring in the ADR percentage context. Plus, Rocket Lab has already been up its 20-day average daily range percentage over it. So now what you have is you have a stock that has hit its 20-day ADR percentage, the fuel is out of the fuel tank, and it then starts showing you intraday relative weakness, closing below the 5 minute 6 EMA, the MACD turns, whilst the triple Qs is rallying. Game over. In the vast majority of cases, I'm not going to give you a specific example, it's 90 So I'd be guessing if I gave you a specific percentage. But in the vast majority of cases, game over. So that's why I think you really want, ideally, initial stop losses half the 20-day ADR percentage. Sometimes it can be a little bit kind of above that. Okay, but if it's a quarter, a third, a half, that can be really favorable when you think about how much fuel is left for the day. Plus, does it then help me to try and free roll the trade? Dole saying, please clarify ORB stop. Pass through the low of the 5-minute candlestick close. Watch this back top. I've said it about 5 times, the exact exit for these ones. So let's get into it. Okay, one. Thank you. Let me bring in Aman, and then I'll bring in Thomas. And let's go through AVG will be a good one.
Hi, Jack.
Hey, Aman, you okay?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm going to take some water because I've just been shouting for 33 minutes. Any questions on ORBs? 5-minute ORBs specifically?
Just the kind of stocks that you select. Is there like a multi-stream or something which you have a lot of stocks that you're looking at, and then um, you go for whichever is showing relative strength?
Yep. So it's mostly, bear with me a second. Find it. Okay. That's the one for this week. And then we'll just go here. So good question, Aman. Thank you for asking. We want this one here. Okay. So the stocks that I'm generally watching in the week are these ones that I put in this post, which I try and get out on a Friday night. So you have kind of your TML type stocks. That's more of your kind of William O'Neill, Can Slim type stocks, good earnings, big sales, market cap, growth ahead, nice story, estimates, yada, yada, yada kind of thing, right? So PLTR, Hood, SoFi, CLS, NVIDIA, App, Reddit, Shopify, yada, yada. You then have more of your kind of momentum leaders. As you can see, Tempest AI is on that list. Tesla is on that list. And then there may be stocks from specific themes. So quantum computing related stocks, IONQ on there, precious metal miners. So these are the main ones. ONDS has had a couple of good trading opportunities this week as well. Some of the crypto stocks, Solar's kind of fallen away this week. So this is my main kind of list them on. And then what I do is stick them on. This looks a little bit different now, but it's still effectively the same like this. So those stocks there, Amar. Can you see where I'm pointing? I'll tell you what. I'll try and write it for people. Annotate. So let's say here I will have. I'm going to put N for NVIDIA. I'll tell you exactly. This is NVIDIA. This is Broadcom, AVGO. This here is Tesla. This is Meta. This is Apple. This is Amazon. This today is SoFi. This is AMD. There's a lot of these, aren't there? This is PLTR. This is Robinhood. Don't worry, this will make sense in a minute. This here is Rocket Lab. So I'll do an R for Rocket Lab. And this here was CoreWeave today. This was IONQ, Regatti, QBTS, and QUBT. I'll just do those ones, otherwise we're going to be here all day. But so what I'm doing today, Alan, is obviously all of these are all filled in as well with various stocks, okay? Is what I noticed today, and I'm just going to change my color, is what's going to stand out? Green. What I notice is Tesla. Can you see that green okay, Emma? Showing up, showing up. What I noticed today is Tesla and IONQ really, really strong in the opening 5 minutes. So I'm sat here. That's me. And what I notice is, wow, Tesla really strong. IONQ really strong. This here would be the triple Qs. This would be the S&P 500. So I'm looking at Tesla and thinking, wow, relative to the triple Qs, really strong. IONQ relative to the triple Qs, really strong. Boom, boom. So you're just trying to make it really, I know you're really good at your screening. What you may want to think about is kind of your trading setup and your trading layout. So you make it even easier, even quicker for yourself to just go, wow, it's the, and I get work commitments, family commitments, time commitments, things like that can make it more difficult. But for me, that is the most efficient way to try and make it easier for yourself to see, okay, when a stock's showing me a lot of strength and I want to go for an ORB, that's how I do it.
Mm-hmm.
Does that
And
answer?
do you compare leaders across groups, or basically stocks within the same group?
Sure.
Help
So
you? Yeah.
this one over here, if I write on the foam boards because they stop the echo, this here is like the TMLs. So I kind of group the TMLs, if that makes sense. So I have, let me get a spotlight. Can you see that red dot on mine? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Yep. So I have NVIDIA. So this will be like the TML section. NVIDIA, Broadcom, Tesla, Meta, Apple, Amazon, SoFi, AMD. They're kind of like your TML type stocks. And then over here, I'll kind of put what I think are some of the kind of hottest TMLs, momentum leaders as well. Or some of them are just momentum leaders. I've got PLTR and Robinhood, two really good trading stocks in my view. Rocket Lab has been really strong. CoreWeave has been coming back a bit and can be a nice trading stock. And then these here, in terms of the grouping, let me go and get a different color, something like that. So here, these I'm going to put quantum computing, QC. So what I do is I've grouped here IONQ, QBT, QBTS, RGTI. So I can watch
Mm-hmm.
here, all the quantum stocks. Because what I saw this morning, for me, IONQ, strongest and the best setup. I'll show you that in a minute, if you like. And then over here, these will be, this is actually, both of these are precious metal miners over here. So I'll put PMs. So that's like GLD, GDX, Barrack, Agnico, Wheaton. So I'm watching those over here. Over here, this is crypto stocks. MSTR, Coinbase, Riot, Marathon, IREN, Wolf, Hut. So that's crypto stocks there. These are a bit of this and a bit of that. And up here, this up here is clean alternative energy. So I'll put clean/A. So I kind of group them together like that. Many people won't have that many monitors. So what I've seen some members do, which can be quite effective, is they'll use tabs. So they'll load up TradingView tabs. I'll show you guys that. Maybe that'll be helpful for many of you. So give me a theme, Amar, that you are currently interested in.
So I think there's one with related to the communication equipment, which has like ComScope. It has Lumentum Holdings.
Mm-hmm.
I try and track some of the, multiple groups, not specifically just restricted to say crypto and drones and those kind of ones. But I mean, so I've been looking at the communication equipment one, and
Okay.
then you can also look at aerospace and defense was, I think, a bit weak, so it was a bit off my radar.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, yeah.
So I would suggest doing this one. I'll take your quantum stocks from today. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And here you can utilize if you don't have loads of monitors, my view would be utilize tabs like this. So we've
Mm-hmm.
obviously only got one open here. So even if you only have, say, one monitor or two monitor, I still think you need to be a little bit kind of resourceful in nature, but you can still make it work because you could just open tabs and then you can kind of flick through your tabs, yeah? So here you can have your tab, which is quantum stocks or this theme or that theme, whatever it may be, okay? If I play forward the first 5 minute candlestick, come on, for today, this is today. Which is the strongest?
IONQ.
Yeah. There, at that moment in time, there is only one to target.
Mm-hmm.
It's IONQ.
Yeah. It's actually the grouping of stocks is also very important so that you're able to compare the rest of the stocks.
Yes. So here, IONQ, which stock, I know the answer to this, which stock is the only one to break out to new high of day on the second 5-minute candlestick?
IONQ.
Yep. So IONQ shows you strength in the first 5 minutes, shows you strength in the next 5 minutes. It's IONQ. Like that is, it's then good to see the other quantum boys start then playing ball as well. But the only one to target was IONQ. Toll's asking, does the 5-minute volume need to be higher than average of the previous? No, just focus on really good setups. Everything I blabbered on about in the first 20 minutes, just watch it 10 times. Don't get caught in the weeds. Has big relative volume, even better, but sometimes volume can come in after the move. Like if you look at IONQ, it actually has bigger volume on the next 4 5-minute candlesticks than it does on the first one. Same with RGTI. Same with QBTS. Same with QUBT. That the volume can come in after the stock starts going, which is going to be a good sign. So Mark, if I put up, let's go for okay, on
So
the
quantum computing is not one of the, the strongest groups out there, but on a particular day, it might be stronger than the rest. So then, that is good enough for you to target an IONQ from that group.
yeah, a lot of trading is it's being prepared more. So if you let me go back to IONQ from a couple of days ago. Look at what they did last year. You see this?
Yeah.
They go on a huge move. And then look at the base. What do you see?
It's a cup and handle.
Cup and handle. What happens right here in the handle?
So shake up.
Big shakeout, right? So here it's then kind of building a base, and we would kind of call this a bit of a Wyckoff facey spring, yeah? Shake out the other two. Oopsie daisy. See you later, boys. And then it starts tightening around the 10, the 21, and the 50. And then note the volume coming in. And there's relative strength on this day as well. So here it's then going, well, this looks interesting. And when they want to run, they can run. So today's bar doesn't surprise me from what was happening and where it was starting to tighten up. A concept that we often talk about are from periods of price contraction come price expansion. You have about a week and a half of price contraction along 3 very important moving averages with the volume drying up and the RS line subtly ticking up here. So you don't know ahead of time what theme is going to go make a big run. Maybe it's going to be software AI stocks. Maybe it's going to be quantum stocks. Maybe it's going to be the precious metal miners. You don't know. So the point is you watch them in an efficient manner to then go, okay, when they're going to have their big move, if they have their big move, I'm watching them. And then you know what the characteristics tend to be, what they tend to exhibit. So if I was to load up from, let me just go get the, okay, 10th of September. Okay, what's the best way of doing that? Okay, let me just load this up here. So let's load GDX up. GDX, AU, GFI, and GFI. And what we're going to do is we're going to go earlier this week. This loads up, 10th of September. Okay, so this is 10th of September. What we are looking at is GDX, the main kind of precious metal miner, but then I've loaded up 2 of the South African precious metal miners, AU and GFI, because sometimes you can have kind of subcategories within a theme, if that makes sense. So sometimes what you can see is the precious metal miners, specifically the South African ones, AU, GFI, can make move, or sometimes you could have it's actually the silver stocks are moving. CDE, PAS, Pan American Silver, Heckler, AG, First Majestic, they'll move more. So if we play through full wood, the first 5-minute candlestick for the 10th, What do you notice GDX has done? What do you also notice that AU and GFI have done?
So GDX has opened and just moved on from there, whereas AU and GFI slight you know uh, demand tail and then moving up.
Hmm.
Also, I think some supply shoot on all of them, but particularly AU.
Okay. I somewhat shot myself in the foot here. I was hoping that AU and GFI would be stronger than GDX. My memory lost me a little bit, but it's kind of the same point. We can roll with it. Here's a little nuance that I forgot to mention on Tempest AI earlier. If you look at the opening price of GDX relative to how the bar, this first 5 minute candlestick finish, what do you notice? What's very interesting about it, about the opening price relative to the range of the bar?
Sorry, I'm not able to.
Price open demand,
Yeah,
okay? Price opened. Did it open mid-range of the bar? Open on the high of the bar and then a supply shoot? Or did price open on the very low of that 5 minute candlestick and immediately push up?
yeah, yeah. It
So
opened at the low.
yeah, so think about this. The market is absolutely dominated by algorithms. Price opened for GDX, it didn't trade a cent lower, it just pushed and went immediately. What does that tell you about demand?
There is immediate demand.
Immediate, right? Enough to take out all sell orders and just power price higher. If we go and take a look at Tempest AI, okay, Tempest AI, first 5 minute candlestick. What do you notice about where the open is in relation to the range of that 5 minute bar?
Um, Open is the low of the day.
So think about it. Tempest AI, literally, it opens at the low of that bar, opens at the low, pushes and goes. There's an immediate presence of demand. The algos wanted it and they wanted it immediately. And it's showing intraday relative strength. So then when you see that happening for a specific theme, where do you think GDX wants to go today?
Wants to go higher.
Well, it's literally just told you. And even better, which it will be there, even better if it's showing intraday relative strength. And then if we play this forward, here's a little, here's the point that I was then going to make. What do you notice with AU and GFI, both South African mining related stocks, precious metal miners, gold miners, relative to GDX? Are they now stronger or weaker in that
Yeah,
second 5 minute bar?
they are now more stronger than GDX,
Oh, yeah,
with
nice.
AU being the strongest.
Now, again, we can go deep down the rabbit hole as you guys want to go. What do you notice on the high of day breakout bar for AU and GFI? Where's the open of that bar in relation to the range of that 5 minute bar? What are they doing when they're breaking out?
Open is at the low of that bar.
What does that tell you about demand?
Continued immediate demand.
Yeah. Plus, they're doing this relative to the group ETF doing that. They're now stronger. That's what we want to see. Now, if I play these forward, I'm in R in a little bit, still holding their 5 minute 6 EMA. So if you look here, on the pullback, GDX loses its 5 minute 6 EMA. Do we see that for AU or GFI?
No,
What's stronger?
AU.
Yep, it's good to see. So again, little kind of clue here from Show Matt. Okay, ride it. Stronger than the group. That's right, Thomas. Thank you. Stronger than the group. So we continue to ride it. But now let's go to where the exit is. No reason to sell a rising stock. But what's happening here with AU potentially? What do we maybe want to be aware of given the size of this move?
Um, I think we want to know what's the ADR and how much it's moved.
Call it 3.3% relative to an ADR of 2.97%.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no reason to sell a rising stock.
Yeah.
I would get if you really wanted to go right, lower the bar, kind of trail, lower the bar, lower the bar, lower the bar, but let's try and ride this 5 minute 6 EMA. because then we want to be aware of something. Still going, right? GFI, still going. GFI, we may want to be aware that, okay, that fuel tank's probably empty. It's now just running on fumes. It's running on momentum here.
Mm-hmm.
Are AU and GFI continuing to show you strength now relative to GDX? This is then kind of the point that I wanted to make.
Yeah.
GDX is still kind of failing to get through. Maybe you can think, oh, intraday, a little cup and out, but kind of tries to make a new higher day, fails, tries here, kind of fails, right? But here's then one of the little nuances that AU and GFI in that second 5 minute candlestick, they were telling us strength versus GDX. So these are ones which I don't think, well, one, they're still above their 5 minute 6 EMA. Two, they're showing strength relative to the group. And not every group, every theme is going to have a really clearly defined ETF like GDX. Some are you're going to have to be a little bit more creative with, or actually it's better to look at the action of the individual stocks rather than an illiquid ETF, if that makes sense. But AU and GFI, they're trend still up. We just ride them. But what we want to be aware of is if and when they start to break down below their 5 minute 6 EMA, what do you see? What's happened?
Yeah, both have lost. The 5 and the GDX has lost its blue line as well.
Okay. What else as well? What else just crossed?
The MACD is down.
Yeah,
Negative.
MACD. And again, we're rolling with custom settings on the MACD, just for group's benefit. 629. So turns quicker on the way up, turns quicker on the way down. Experiment with different ones, but works pretty well for my purposes. So AU, it's now kind of rolls reverse mark. Do you see how it opens on the high of that 5 minute bar and then sells off?
Mm-hmm.
Same with GFI, even better example. Open on the high of the 5 minute bar, closes on the low, MACD turns. And what do you notice about the volume, both on GFI and AU? Is it high volume, low volume? What do you see?
Relatively low volume.
Suggesting what?
Ease of downwards movement.
Yeah, ease of movement to the downside, yeah. And then let's take that ADR reading as well. Let's call it, it's over for GFI, AU pushing, not quite, but 1.3 times. And then what do we see for GDX? What's happened to the group ETF?
MACD is turned negative.
Yep.
It's lost its blue line.
5 minute 21 EMA plus
Yeah.
open on the high, go out on the low. Plus, look how the volume's just dried up here.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just telling you now, certainly for AU and GFI, there are a lack of willing buyers. And actually, there's a lack of willing algos. AU and GFI have made their moves for today. So then in terms of the exit, for me, with these, the exit is not that bar. I would not exit on that bar. Wait for a move below the close below the 5 minute 6 EMA bar, which is a mouthful. And there should be an easy way of explaining it, but I can't think of an easy way of explaining it. I don't exit on the bar that closes below the 5 minute 6 EMA. What I'm looking for is the next bar to move below the low of that bar, plus continue to show weakness, and even more so intraday relative weakness. Because if the Qs were starting to say rally like this, and these were rolling off their high of day, displaying weakness, plus the MACD was turning, not good. So if we just put in a kind of pretend stop, again, a little bit of wiggle room. I appreciate some of you have family commitments, work commitments, time zone, things like I get it. You may not be able to watch it like this, but just trying to teach you what I do. If you find something useful, try using it. If you don't use it. Here we're kind of really kind of umming and ahhing it. Little kind of supply sheet, little shakeout, tight bar, AU. This would now be an exit.
Mm-hmm.
Try to, couldn't, that there, exit. I'll keep that one circled. GFI, see how we're still in it? Because we're kind of like a little shakeout and then try to rally it. So GFI, we're kind of still in it. So that's why I'm going to do a hard stop right on the low and try and watch it. But now what do you see there for GFI?
Some more selling pressure at the top,
Yeah. And the volume?
elevated volume.
Yeah. And what about AU and GDX? Do they look like it's going to come and help GFI?
No.
No. This looks like they want to go down, yeah. So the group is now losing momentum. And there for GD here, like clear as day. When it takes this out, that's the exit. And then if I just play this session forward, go to the close. That's all she wrote. Maybe they come back a bit, maybe they don't come back a bit. But that there for trying to nail the opening hour of the session, that's what I focus on. If it's going to be kind of an ORB day.
Mhm.
And sometimes what you can see is you could have, say, weakness in the major indexes, but you could have a lot of strength in precious metal miners, because oftentimes they can be inversely correlated.
Mhm. Yeah.
That makes sense, Emma?
Yes, sure. Thank you so much.
That's all right. Thank you very much for joining, Emma. I appreciate that, as always. That's it, guys. I will wrap it up there. Thank you, Juan and Thomas. I will bring you guys in. Next week. I was saying, what about lower ADR for the sector? Just focus on what you think are leaders in the sector and A plus setup opportunities. Carl would be my view. So that's it, guys. I will wrap it up there. Thank you very much for joining me. I hope you guys have a nice weekend, and I will see you soon.